Flying Feet, a story of Irish dance, with music from Riverdance. The wind raced across the sea like a great herd of stallions, leaping over islands and kicking up waves on the way to the small cottage in Ballyconnolly, where Gabriel Feeney lay sleeping. As the rattling of the windows shook the boy awake, two strangers rode towards his village. Aidan Delaney rode his galloping mare with the wind at his back, whipping his wild hair and woolen cloak all about him. Michael McHugh, with his slick hair and fancy tweed suit, furiously pedaled his bicycle against the gusts. The men were quite different in spirit, but they had two things in common. Both were great dancers, and both were determined to teach their steps to every able body in Ballyconnolly. When Gabriel heard the clip-clop of the horse's hooves, he ran outside calling, "Hello, what brings you to Ballyconnolly?" Michael and Aidan both replied, "I've come to teach the dancing." The strangers stared at each other in disbelief, scarcely trusting their own ears. How could it be that they arrived at exactly the same moment, in the same village, hoping for the same work? Michael edged up close to Aidan and narrowed his eyes. "Now, lad, what makes you think you and your shoddy boots could teach anyone to dance? I am Michael McHugh, champion of all County Galway. I shall teach the good people of Ballyconnolly to dance." Aidan stood tall and stared back at Michael. "The boots may be old and worn, but the feet inside them are young and swift. I am Aidan Delaney, and I've not lost a competition in any county of Ireland." When Gabriel's father, Brendan, heard the argument, he came outside and said, "There's only one way to settle this. Gabriel, fetch the fiddle and whistle. Gentlemen, shake hands, and may the best man win." The men lifted the Feeney's half door from its creaking hinge and placed it on the road. They drew straws to see who would be first to dance. Michael pulled the longer straw. He took off his jacket and set to clearing the dust from the door. Brendan bowed up as Gabriel blew dum-diddle-dees into the breeze. Aidan chose a tune that would put his opponent, skill, to the test. "Let's see your feet keep time with the blue-eyed rascal," he said. "Watch and learn," said Michael, stepping onto the door. With the very first zings from the strings, Michael shot straight into the air, as light and quick as an arrow. He landed with a mighty thundering of feet, striking the wood with his soles as if kicking stones aside, crossing left over right, right over left. He didn't miss a single beat, and as the tune wound down, he bounded from corner to corner of the door, finishing right in front of Aidan, who shouted, "Nicely done." The audience grew as the music drew the neighbors near. Michael asked Aidan, "Can you step about to a hornpipe? Perhaps the rambling rake?" "With pleasure," Aidan said, tossing off his cloak. Brendan slid his bow across the strings as Gabriel blew into the whistle. Aidan tapped his foot in time, then with a loud shout leapt as high as the hedgerow. He picked up his feet in front of him and battered the boards as he landed, sending clouds of dust flying. Everyone cheered for his powerful dancing and wondered how Michael would best him. Michael unbuttoned his vest and carefully laid it aside, and then hopped up onto a barrel. "What will it be, Mr. Delaney?" he asked. "Could you manage the Glasgow reel?" Aidan challenged. Michael accepted, then signaled to Gabriel and Brendan to begin the music. With the rising notes, he lifted his heels and slapped the barrel like a drum. The villagers spurred him on, shouting, "Faster, faster," as he pounded. "That's fine dancing," said Aidan, as he stopped the barrel with a stool. "How about a bit more height?" Michael called for the downfall of Paris, and Aidan stepped onto the stool. He answered the rhythm with fantastic footwork, catching high notes with daring leaps and low notes with hammering heels. He moved so quickly that his boots nearly disappeared altogether. Michael scowled as the crowd cheered for Aidan. only for a moment. He rolled up his sleeves and sprang onto an old stone wall. Aidan called out, "Why don't you try the Kilkenny races on that rack of stones?" The crowd gasped. Could the man keep his balance on that narrow surface? But Michael McHugh was fueled by faith. He danced with such lightning speed, high in the air, firm on the stones, cutting back and across, that he landed his final steps in silence as everyone stared, wide-eyed and wonder-filled. Michael was confident that the competition was his. The villagers gathered around Michael to praise his performance. Gabriel knew he danced brilliantly, but his heart went out to Aidan. How could he hope to win now? He turned to comfort him, but Aidan was nowhere to be seen. Then Gabriel spotted Aidan climbing up to the roof. The boy ran toward him, shouting, "What can you be doing? Be careful. You'll fall to your death." Aidan laughed and said, "Don't worry yourself, lad. Just tell the others to come around. This contest isn't finished yet." Michael could not believe his eyes. Aidan was climbing onto the chimney. Well, if he's going to risk life and limb, I'll pick the perfect melody to match his foolishness. He considered all the reels he knew. Then it came to him, a tune that only the very best master could keep time with. "Would you favor us with the Cooley races, Mr. Delaney?" he shouted. Aidan accepted his challenge with a mischievous grin. And then, swoosh! Up into the air he flew. First a scissor kick, then the double back flick, then a salmon's leap. He sprang into the heavens, performing every known step and creating one after another that no one had ever seen before. Joyful cheers filled Aidan's ears as he stepped to the final notes. He hopped off the chimney, slid down the thatch, knowing that he had danced his very best. Gentlemen stepped forward to offer congratulations. Ladies waited to be introduced. And though Michael McHugh was not a man who liked to lose, he had to admit that he too had been spellbound. Brendan shook Aidan's hand and said 100,000 welcomes. And with those words, Aidan Delaney became the dancing master of Ballyconlea. That evening, all of Ballyconlea gathered for a bonfire dance. Aidan and Michael took turns dancing with the ladies until the wind lifted the last sparks from the embers far out to sea. Gabriel listened as the storytellers began weaving bits of magic into what they had all seen with their own eyes. Good heavens, didn't he float there above the clouds as if the very wind held him, whispered Mrs. Tierney. 'Twas as though he had wings, Gabriel agreed. Aye, he was like an angel upon the clouds, declared Mr. O'Flaherty. It was no time at all before the contest was transformed into legend. Yet no matter how many facts faded with each new telling, this truth remained. Never before and never since had any living body in Ballyconlea witnessed the likes of Aidan Delaney and his flying